Hello YouTube friends, welcome to the Last Homely House. I'm Kate and today I want to tell you about these three quilts that I'm working on at the moment. Now, this one here and the two behind me, this one I call my planets quilt because it's big circles, and I made a video about that not so long ago about how I was mastering sewing curves because that was something that I'd always been a little bit worried about doing. It's really easy, turns out. And also this quilt behind me here, which is a 4-patch quilt, which is sort of on its, can you see what I mean? Yeah. And then this quilt here, which is a string quilt that I made on the channel here as well. This one here I made over on my Patreon channel. So all three of these quilt tops are finished now, and I sent them off to Kath, who is the Cumbrian long arm quilter, and she made a fabulous job of quilting each one of these quilts for me. Each of these quilts is going to be given to a different charity. This one here is going to Project Linus. This one is going to Choose Love, and that's the charity that I'm supporting all year on the Last Homely House. If you follow me on the newsletter, we send a newsletter out once a month. Rita, my daughter-in-law, does that. And there's always a little piece about Choose Love. That's the charity that we're supporting this year. And this one is going to a new charity for me, Scope, and we'll leave some information in the description below all about these three charities. So, bindings, that's where I'm up to now. And I've made the bindings for the Planets quilt here, and I've made a binding for the 4-patch quilt. And I was working on the binding for this one. And if you remember back to that video, I'd actually decided to make a binding like this, which is as crazy as the quilt, and fold that in half and stitch that on, and that would have been the binding on this quilt. And then the very day that I was making these bindings, what a wonderful thing happened. The phone rang and it was my friend Brandon Mabley, and he and Kate had been doing a talk near me in Carlisle the day before, and they were coming past this way. Could they call in and visit? And they did. And that was when, because I was working on these bindings that day, and that was when Kate and Brandon and I discussed the binding for this quilt here. But today I put aside to make bindings for 5 quilts. And I remember last time I chatted to you guys at the festival, you were saying one of your favourite things to do is stitch down a binding. Yeah. And so
too bad you didn't have it ready
I
to
know,
go.
I've got none of them stitched onto the quilts, but I'm doing these two behind me here, that one. They're all over the place. So I'm making binding today.
I got to say, Kate, it's like being in a candy shop. There is colour and fabric and pattern there. I mean, it's just like being in a sort of our own bedroom.
Well, you gave me so little notice, I didn't manage to tidy up.
Perfect.
It is like this.
A little impromptu happening.
Yeah, and so it's really, really great that you came. You're having a good time in the north. We're quite
Yeah.
friendly up here, aren't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. The talk was wonderful yesterday.
Well,
We had a very, very happy audience. It
Good.
was like a party.
Good.
You know, when it was finished, everybody came out and they were all smiling and telling us stories about their textiles.
and
It
they,
was-
look,
it was
they looked
lovely.
like a garden, didn't they? Like
Yeah,
an
they did.
English garden.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
colours. And
Ah,
But there's very particular light at the moment because you have huge, big, fluffy clouds.
yes.
Like big meringues passing
Yes.
over. And
Yes.
you get undulating shadows. And the
That's
landscape
lovely.
here is very it's like a rumpled carpet.
That's lovely. That's really lovely. The
Very
rumpled
dreamy.
carpet. Good. Excellent. Well, this is just a whistle-stop tour. I'll be able to get back to my bindings in a few minutes' time. But honestly, guys, it's been such a treat.
Well, Keith, when you're choosing a binding for a fabric, what kind of hint would you pass along? Because often I say it's like
Well, I like just two color prints, you know, something kind of sharp and delineated. So, you know, and I like a bit of contrast at the binding.
Do you remember giving me that advice about the stars quilt? Is it nearby? It's underneath there somewhere. To do the black and white spots. Do you remember
There's
that?
our stars.
That star quilt.
Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
baby quilt.
Yeah, and to do this little sharp black and white.
And it looks great.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Really,
I
really
often
nice.
equate binding to be like eyeliner.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You don't want it to fuzz into the quilt. You want to just add it. Oh, when you're making a carrot soup, you just want to add a little bit of
tiny
pop
bit of ginger.
Ginger.
Yeah.
There you go. So you don't want it to
No.
become too important or too negative.
And that might actually inform the decision I'm making about one of the quilts I'm doing. It's too busy, the binding that I'm thinking of doing.
Yeah,
Way too
take a
busy.
plainer quilt and
Yeah.
save that binding for
Yes,
it
I will.
when you need something a little
Yeah.
rich.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, very, very well met indeed. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
so
a treat.
much
It's just
for coming.
it's just a thrill that we could do it. And a big thank you to Deborah
Yeah,
for
thank you to Deborah,
making it
who
happen.
Yeah.
does not want to be on the camera. That's fine. But I'm going to take the guys for a walk around the garden now
And meet the Mad
Okay.
Goose.
Yeah.
and go and meet
Yeah.
Eileen the Mad Goose. Because I know you haven't got very long, have you?
Yeah.
All right.
They're so in demand. Thanks so much for coming.
Okay.
Thank you. So I was very, very grateful for the advice that they gave me about binding this quilt. And then Brandon sent me this fabric, which is his new range. It's called Zipper Stripe. Isn't that cool? And so he sent me this fabric to be the binding of this quilt. And so that's what I'm going to do today, is make this binding and then sew 3 bindings onto 3 quilts, which will be great fun. I really like this this fabric. I think it's going to work really well for the binding. I'll cut it along the zipper, not across, so that we get some bits of these stripes on the edge of the quilt. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to sew bindings onto these 2 and get ready to do this one as well. So now the rest of my day is going to be stitching these bindings down, hand stitching. I chose this binding for this one because it's a scrappy kind of binding of all the plain colours that are in the background of the planets, and when I was making that one I decided I would do the same thing for this one, which is all the scrappy colours of the planes that are in the background of these 4 patches, and then this one, which has a new lease of life now, has this fabulous black and white stripe. I'm interested to see how that one looks when I've stitched it down. I think it's going to be lovely. Okay, so I'm going to be some time now hand stitching these, and I'll show you at the end what they all look like. Let's make a start. I think I'll start with this one. I won't do it all in one go. I think there might be a bit of a movie night going on here. So it's a few days later now, and I've had a lovely time stitching these bindings down. I did some of them in the evening, watching a bit of telly. I did some very early in the morning, sitting out on this bench. It's one of my favourite things to do, because at this time of year, it's light by 4 o'clock. So I sit out here with a cup of tea, 5 o'clock, 5:30, and just watch the birds. There's so many birds at the moment. They seem to be all feeding young as well. And I've got the little birds that come to my bird feeder. I've also got a woodpecker that's feeding 2 young. It's fantastic watching that. So I'm nearly done with these 3 quilts, and then what's going to happen then is I like to photograph the quilts on the treehouse before they go to their new home. And so Anna's here today and she's going to help me do that. And then this quilt, this is the Project Linus quilt, and this is the Scope quilt. And this one though, once this video goes live, this one is going to be on sale in my little online shop. There's only one, and so once that's gone to its new home, I hope it's really enjoyed by whoever ends up with that quilt. I've loved making it. But now you can own it. Okay, so I'll just finish this last little bit. It's got its Project Linus label on, but it's also got its Last Homely House label on as well. I hope some little child really enjoys snuggling up underneath this. So this one, the Planets quilt, is for sale in my little shop. There's a link in the description below, and also the website's on the screen now, and all the proceeds for that one will be going to Choose Love. I love colour. It's all about colour. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here at the Last Homely House with whatever else I get up to.